it was a verdict that stunned not only Central Florida, but the nation. Casey Anthony found not guilty of killing little Caylee. Shortly after lunchtime today, the jury came back with their decision. Testimony about duct tape on the child's face and the smell of death inside a car trunk apparently was not enough to convict Casey Anthony, but she was found guilty of lying to investigators, 4 misdemeanors in all. Our Carson Chambers joins us now live from Orlando tonight, where she's been on top of this trial from the very beginning. And Carson, the jury's decision came down rather quickly in this case.
It did, Jameson. Good evening. Jurors took less than 11 hours to deliberate before returning their verdict. No matter how you felt or speculated about what might happen, 12 Pinellas County jurors delivered their decision, and it was unanimous.
As to the charge of first-degree murder, verdict as to count 1, we, the jury, find the defendant not guilty.
With that, a Tampa Bay jury handed 25-year-old Casey Marie Anthony her freedom, convicting her only on 4 misdemeanor charges of lying to investigators. There were tears, there were hugs, and then there were words from her lead defense attorney, Jose Baez.
Casey did not murder Caylee.
Now Baez says his client will work to rebuild her life. He says he hopes the not guilty verdict will draw attention to a debated and serious issue.
We all need to stop and look and think twice about a country that decides to kill its own citizens.
After 33 days of testimony, 10 hours and 44 minutes of deliberations, lead counsel Jeff Ashton and Linda Drain Burdick would choose not to talk to the media. Orange County State Attorney Lawson Lamar and the Orange County Sheriff stood in their stead.
As the verdict has been rendered, we ask our community to respect the decision the jury and court have made today.
Caylee Marie Anthony died 3 years ago, and no matter how much you hate it or hope for a different decision, 12 Pinellas County jurors had their say, leaving us wondering if justice for Caylee will ever be served. And those 12 jurors asked that their names be sealed by the judge. By the way, State Prosecutor Jeff Ashton announced his plans to retire by the end of the week. We're live in Orlando. I'm Carson Chambers, ABC Action News.
Thank you, Carson. Meanwhile, the courthouse was a circus today with trial watchers waiting for the verdict. And hundreds of people gathered outside did not hold back their emotions.
First-degree murder, not guilty. First-degree murder.
I don't know if they're watching the same thing we were. It's just shocking. I can't believe it. I don't even know why I'm this emotional. I have no attachment to them at all. I just can't believe it.
Reactions slowly built as the lesser charges were read and the most serious charges were not guilty.
The 12 people who decided Anthony's fate left the courthouse for the final time tonight. Earlier today, the judge sealed the names of the jurors, as Carson mentioned, and they refused to talk after finding her not guilty of murder. The 7 women and 5 men listened to more than 33 days of testimony and looked at 400 pieces of evidence. The group was sequestered for the entire trial since it began on May 24th. One alternate juror returned home tonight, but it's still unclear if the 12 jurors came home or spent another night in Orlando.
Casey Anthony's trial was dubbed the social media trial of the century as millions of people throughout the world watched the trial online and weighed in on the case on websites like Facebook and Twitter. Our Chris Martinez joins us now with an in-depth look on how many turned to social media to share their emotions about today's verdict. Good evening, Chris.
Good evening, Wendy. At the very moment that verdict was being read, social media sites were flooded with opinions from millions of people, and the common theme instantly found on Twitter was outrage. User Thicky Tam among the first to comment, saying Casey Anthony got off for the murder of her child. Please, someone tell me that's not right. And JD Harms said Casey Anthony allegedly partied while her kid was still missing. Can you imagine the partying she'll be doing now? We found, though, some people had more to say than what could fit into a tweet or a status update, and many of them turned to YouTube. Some people openly sharing their emotions online as they watched the verdict being read live. Others opening up the debate over whether they thought the jury reached the right decision.
That's all they could say, is that she was lying. They don't have any proof that she actually did it. So I'm really happy that she's not guilty. That just shows you that the justice system is working the way that it should be working.
Justice has not been served today. It has not been served at all today because the prosecutors, they had all the evidence they needed, you know what I'm saying? And it's obvious that she did kill her daughter.
Of course, Facebook is where countless comments have been left since the verdicts were read this afternoon, with hundreds of people coming together on pages set up in Caylee Anthony's memory. And this comment here from Lisa Thompson-Willis really sums up what nearly every opinion says on that page: no justice for Caylee. You know, the talk about the Casey trial on social media really made people at home feel connected and invested in this case, and that's a big part of why so many people were watching this so closely. And we wanted to know what you think. Do you agree with the jury's decision? That's the question we posed on abcactionnews.com with tonight's web poll. At this point tonight, we have about 2,500 or so of you saying that they did not. Just about only 200 of you say they did. Jameson.
Chris, thank you. Late this afternoon, George and Cindy Anthony's attorney, Mark Lippman, released a statement. Lippman says the family believes the jury made a fair decision. He says the family now has closure and will begin the long process of rebuilding their lives. George and Cindy Anthony are asking for time to reflect on the verdict and decide the best move to move forward privately. You can read that entire statement online right now on our website at abcactionnews.com.